Hello and welcome, candidates, to the lesson. We will proceed with the subject leadership and management. The topic is project management. So far, we've covered project management concepts. We've done the characteristics of a project, the importance of projects, features of projects, and baseline surveys. Today we move on to another subtopic, which is known as illustration of the project life cycle. Illustration of the project life cycle. Candidates, our today's session, we have one lesson objective. And the objective is that by the end of the lesson, you should be able to illustrate a project life cycle. You should be able to do what? To illustrate a project life cycle. Project life cycle. Now, candidates, by now you know, based on what you have learned, that the amount of planning and the work that is required to complete a project can sometimes seem overwhelming. Why? Because there may be dozens and even hundreds of tasks that need to be completed at just the right time and in just the right sequence. To complete a project, in other words, there has to be many activities that ought to be completed. Some of the activities are done concurrently, others must precede others. So the amount of planning and work that is required to complete a project can be overwhelming. And therefore, project managers often find it easier to manage the full scope of a project by breaking it down into phases that make up the project life cycle. And candidates dividing efforts into phases helps the project managers to ensure that the project is completed within time. It can help the managers structure and simplify the tasks into a series of logical and manageable steps. So instead of just approaching a project wholesome, a project is split into phases that we are calling the project life cycle. And in our today's lesson, we discuss 4 phases. And we not just discuss, but we'll illustrate the phases of the project life cycle. Dividing efforts into 5 project management phases, I've said, can help the managers to structure and simplify the tasks so that the tasks are in series of logical and manageable steps. So what are these phases? The first phase is known as the initiation phase. Initiation phase. The initiation phase. The second one is known as the planning and organizing phase. Planning and organizing phase. The planning and organizing phase. The other phase is the execution phase. Then we have the closure phase. Closure phase. So we begin at the initiation. The initiation stage, which is the starting point, the starting of the project, Then I've said this one is known as the planning and organizing, which is just the preparing. This is preparation. Preparing before the project is executed. This is the execution phase, which is just carrying out the project tasks, carrying out the project execution. Then lastly we have closure phase, which is just ending or closing the project. So these are 4 phases. And that's the illustration of a project life cycle. Project life cycle. Project life cycle. That's the project life cycle. The first part is initiation, starting the project. And there are many activities that take place here at the initiation before the project is officially kicked off. There are various activities that take place, and at initiation, I've said this is the first stage in the management life cycle, which is the initiation phase, project initiation. And this is where the project's value and feasibility are measured. The project managers typically use 2 evaluation tools to decide whether or not to pursue the project. One is what we call the business case document. Business case document is prepared. And this is a document that justifies the need for the project, and it includes an estimate of the potential financial benefits of the project. Another study is called the feasibility study. Other than the business case document, a feasibility study has to be carried out. And a feasibility study is the evaluation of the project's goals, timeline, and also the cost to determine if the project should be executed or not. The feasibility study balances the requirements of the project with the available resources to see if pursuing the project makes sense. So that is what takes place at the initiation of the project. Number 1, the business case document is prepared. Then there is a feasibility study that has to be undertaken. When it is established that the project can be executed, then it moves to the planning and organizing stage. Planning and organizing stage, which we are calling just preparation. Preparation. Now, candidates, after the project passes the two tests at initiation, the project is handed over to project managers. It is handed over to the project managers. Then the second phase kicks in. Once the project receives a green light, the project managers need a solid plan, a solid project plan to guide the team, a plan to help in executing the project on time and to stay within the budget. So a well-written project plan gives guidance for obtaining resources, acquiring finances, and also procuring the required materials. It also gives the team direction for producing quality outputs, handling risk, creating acceptance, communicating benefits to the stakeholders, and also managing suppliers. Candidates, the project plan, we can also say, also prepares the teams for the obstacles that they may do what? They may encounter over the course of the project, and it also helps the project team to understand, number one, the cost, to understand, number two, the scope, to understand, number three, the time frame of the project. So those are the benefits or advantages of coming up with the project plan before carrying out the project. And we all know that a plan is a predetermined course of action. At this point, the project has not begun. The project managers at this stage carrying out planning and organizing. In our next session, we discuss planning, project planning, and also organizing. We look into details, the various aspects of planning. We also discuss organizing. That is just preparation before the project is carried out. So this is the third phase, which is the execution phase. It is known as the execution phase. And candidates, the execution phase is a phase that is commonly associated with project management. Project management. It's all about building deliverables that satisfy the customers and also the stakeholders. And the team leaders make that happen by building deliverables and keeping team members focused on their assigned tasks. All right? So, executing heavily relies on the plan. What was planned here is what is carried out here. Execution is carried out based on the project plan. And the work and efforts of the team members during execution phase is just derived from the project plan. So the work is done according to the plan. Building according to the plan. Carrying out the project according to the plan. And I've told you the reasons why planning is very key. I've said that a plan is a well-written guidance for obtaining resources, acquiring financing, procuring materials, and so on. So all those things happen during the execution. I've also said that a plan gives the team direction for producing quality output, for handling risk, for creating acceptance, communicating benefits, and so on. So a plan is very important. The success or failure of a project heavily depends on the plan. If the plan is well drafted and organizing is properly done, then execution becomes easier. Carrying out the project. Execution. I say this is this execution is what is commonly associated with project management. And this execution is sometimes carried out hand in hand with what we call project monitoring. Execution is done at the same time there is monitoring and also control. So monitoring and controlling is done hand in hand with the execution. It's combined with the execution because they often occur at the same time. Execution and monitoring and control, they most of the time occur at the same time. So as teams execute their project plan, they must monitor tasks to prevent any deviations from the plan, to monitor and to control. And to guarantee delivery of what was planned, the teams must monitor tasks in order to prevent the scope creep, what we call scope creep, or they may be expected to calculate key performance indicators and also track variations from the allotted cost and time. So there has to be constant vigilance, which will help to keep the project moving ahead smoothly. So execution, I've said, sometimes is carried hand in hand with the project monitoring and evaluation. Monitoring and evaluation. Monitoring and evaluation is carried out as the project is executed. Then the last part here is the closure. Closure or ending the project. Ending the project. Closure of the project. All right? So, candidates, a project is brought to an end when the team delivers the finished project to the customers, or if it is just a business project, after the project has come to an end. The project also comes to an end after communicating completion to the stakeholders and also after releasing resources to other projects. So when closing, after the end of one project opens up room for initiation of other projects. So after releasing resources to other projects, then we say a project has come to an end. And this is a vital step in the project life cycle. Why? Because it allows the team to evaluate, it allows the team to document the project and also to move on to the next project where initiation stage at the initiation stage of another project. And this phase again is important because the mistakes that are made in the first project and the successes that are gained can build stronger processes and more successful teams in future. So these are the closure. It entails many things: evaluation of the project, evaluation of the performance of the team, checking out the resources that have not been utilized, releasing the resources, and so on. So candidate, these are the stages in the project life cycle. We have the project initiation, project planning and organizing, project execution. In some books you will find project monitoring and evaluation separately, though the two can be carried out at the same time. So we may have 5 stages, but these are just 2 in one: execution and also monitoring and evaluation, then closure. So this is the illustration of a project life cycle. Project life cycle. And that will mark the end of the lesson. The objective was 1 in this lesson, to illustrate a project life cycle. And it was on that basis that I'll give you an assignment. I'll write it here on the board. Using an appropriate diagram, discuss 4 stages of a project life cycle, indicating what the project manager should do at each stage. Please attempt the question before attending our next session. Thank you. Bye-bye.